1 Mana Leak, 1 Into the Royal, and 3 Mental Missteps. I've got to think the interesting card there is Combust to me, because it can take down pretty much everything in Todd's deck this side of a Batterskull Germ, and I don't see any Batterskull hanging around on Todd's list.
No. I don't think Combust comes in. Normally, I've played a lot of Splinter Twin in the past couple of weeks, and normally you just want to bring in all your counter spells and Into the Royals, and then just try and, ignore their creatures for the most part, and just, get into counter wars, bounce their hate. And he's going to need to bounce the hate, because Todd has 3 Torpor Orbs on top of everything else, which is a huge issue for Matthew.
And no hard ways to deal with that. It's just going to be having to bounce it at the appropriate time so that he can go off.
Yeah, or trying to get in a Spell Pierce or something. And Todd's getting into a nice little position here. He's played down Jace Beleren, which stuck, and that card surge will really propel him ahead. There's the first red source for Matthew.
Yeah, and it looks like the Mental Missteps are in. So is he going after Todd's Preordains and Ponders?
Normally what you do is you save the Missteps to hit cards like Spell Pierce or their Missteps.
Okay.
You can also hit their Preordains if they're timely enough. Mental Misstep is actually a pretty big card in this matchup, because your mana is really tight when you're trying to go off, and you have to, bounce their card, you get into a counter war over that, and all these things happen. And Mental Misstep makes a big difference when you're fighting Spell Pierces.
So any mana that you can save.
Yeah, 2 life is worth it. Plus, you can just, hit their Preordain sometimes, and their mana screwed. So.
Yep. Now, one of the things that I saw in the modern format when people were playing against Blue-Red Twin is you don't care about your life total. Your life total, you're either dead or alive. That's it. There's only 2 things. Being at 6 and being at 14 have almost no bearing on the game. So Todd's Mental Missteps out of the board, if he's brought him in, I'd be very surprised to see him pay mana for them at any point.
Right. I mean, the Matthew Prisnell, if he was playing with Grim Lavamancers, it might be a different story. The Lavamancers, I've gotten Memoricided for my combo and still just beat people with Lavamancers. It's pretty easy to just shoot them enough times with enough cantrips to go through your deck. But without the Lavamancers, there's pretty much no way. If you, it's just all about protecting the combo from the Splinter Twin standpoint, and there's no reason to care about your life total from Todd's standpoint. And also from Matthew's standpoint, I mean, as long as he's at 1 life, he can still win the game, which is important to keep in mind.
Yep,
it's a
absolutely.
big deal. Looks like Matthew's holding on to Into the Royal, Mental Misstep, maybe a Dispel.
Looks like Todd is going for... like Todd is going for an Into the Royal, bouncing that Spell Skite.
All right. So
what do you think he might be trying to push through here?
Not sure. I mean, Todd doesn't have a ton of target effects. It's almost like he just wanted to get that off the board. Looking through what he could have, probably just wants to make sure that he can dismember a Deceiver Exarch without having to worry about anything. That way, if Matthew flashes in a Deceiver Exarch, Todd Anderson can go for Dismember and not be too concerned about him redirecting. And of course, Matthew can still have access to counterspells, and we know he's got a Dispel hiding in his hand. Todd Anderson's grip is pretty full too, though. We see Mana Leak, a misstep of his own, Preordain, a couple lands. So Todd Anderson has some options here. He's going to go for Preordain to start with. Maybe we'll attack first, but no, maybe not. Taps his island, adjusts his mana, thinks about it for a second, untaps. Oh, plays Gideon Jura. All right, so he's going to tap out. The interesting thing about Gideon is if they go for the combo, Gideon, all the tokens have to attack Gideon, so it essentially fogs the combo for 1 turn. So even if Matthew can go off here, if he doesn't have a way to bounce Gideon as well, then he's safe. Todd knows quite a bit about this deck. He's played the Splinter Twin deck very extensively. He played it at Nationals this year, playtested a ton on Magic Online. So if Matthew goes into the Royal, your Gideon, Deceiver Exarch, untap, land, Splinter Twin, he'll win. But otherwise, Todd will be able to untap in a pretty favorable position, holding on to a clock. All right, well, there's into the Royal. Looks like he's going to Royal with Kicker. Draws a Dispel. Untap. And draws a Ponder. And that deck can just really shuffle through all its decks so quickly. You can have Preordain, Ponder, and, all your counter spells. You have cantrips. You've got cards like Shrine of Piercing Vision, which is really why when I was playing this deck, I liked the Grim Lava Master so much. You always have fuel. Looks like a little counter war erupted. Matthew went for Ponder. Todd Anderson misstepped it. Matthew misstepped back. Now the Ponder's going to resolve. And Matthew leaves them all there, picks up a new card. Joining me here in the booth is Glenn Jones, coming in
hello.
mid-match here. We've got a Cobblade versus Splinter Twin, kind of in the mid-game point where Matthew's just trying to assemble his combo.
Yep, and Todd's got what he wants, which is a little bit of pressure.
Yep. Last turn we saw Into the Royal come down on Gideon, so we'll see if Todd is man enough to play the Gideon again. Goes for preordain.
14.
One on top, one on bottom.
Torpor Orb.
Oh, that's Torpor Orb. Now that's a Matthew.
Probably more likely to play that this turn.
Matthew already expended one of his Into the Royals last turn too. So.
Yep. I really like Torpor Orb. It lets you be much more proactive against this deck than you can be otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, you just sit on it, and it's really hard for them to deal with, especially so many of them have moved to like Twisted Image or similar,
and you can see the effects of, like, once it's in play, now Todd is assuming he just thinks that it'll stay in play, which after seeing an Into the Royal go is much more likely. He's open to just bash with Colonnade, which was actually Jerry's main plan when he started boarding Torpor Orbs and Cobblade. He'd board out Hawks and then just bash them to death with Colonnade a lot.
Interesting. Yeah, when I was playtesting this matchup, my opponent boarded out Hawks and it made it significantly harder because you just tap all of that mana.
Yep.
And, you don't really add much to the board. So it looks like Matthew has his combo assembled, but now he needs a way to deal with that Torpor Orb.
Yep. He's got plenty of counterspell backup, so if he gets another Into the Royal, it will probably be enough to win this game.
Let's see. He can have up to 4 Into the Royals after sideboarding, and I believe he's only used 1, so there's still 3 hiding in there. We'll see if he finds them.
Another Into the Royal target here now with Gideon.
Gideon Jura.
And see how Todd can just take advantage of this orb to just tap out. These are just multiple cards that he can't possibly lose both of them in the same turn. Like, it's just not realistic. So with both in play, he knows he's pretty safe.
Yeah, Gideon's +2, making sure Matthew can't just combo kill. There's a Shrine of Piercing Vision off the top. Matthew's going to put it down.
Definitely casting that one.
At what point do you think putting Splinter Twin on Spellskate?
I was actually about to say, like, this turn might have been a fine time to do that since he's definitely not going to play Exarch, and he also has no spells that he would, like, dispel from Todd on Todd's own turn.
I guess it doesn't actually do anything, though, right?
I mean,
I guess
it doesn't
if
do
Gideon
anything.
attacks...
The biggest reason I would not do it is just because it telegraphs that you have another Splinter Twin in your hand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's a reasonable thing. Like, Gideon probably can attack at some point in this game. Like, it's likely he will be safe to do so. Probably on the next turn. Not this turn, but the next one. When Gideon plus Colonnade plus Hawk is a lethal attack.
It's like Todd draws another misstep there. His hand is just juiced with counter spells. So it's like Spell Pierce, misstep, Mana Leak. So now I think Todd can just activate attack and start crunching in.
Yep.
That'll chop Matthew's life total down to a paltry 5? 5 life.
Yep. And you can go ahead and make it harder for him to go off here. Yep.
Gonna Tectonic Edge away that Halimar Death.
Small thing, but definitely relevant.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking with Jared earlier about how mana crucial this matchup is. Every mana matters, and like misstepping Spell Pierces and all these small edges. Now Matthew's in a pretty rough spot. Draws the Into the Royal he's looking for.
I do think he probably wanted to just cast Deceiver last turn, just for, like, it didn't matter since Todd played the Tech Edge correctly. Like, the Tech Edge was, but I don't know. The Shrine on 1 when he's got the Gideon, I would probably have just held and tried to get my Deceiver through a Mana Leak.
I agree with that.
But with the Tech Edge in play, I don't think he can do anything anyway.
Todd draws a second Torpor Orb. That should seal this up, I'd imagine.
This one's under lock and key. Todd would have to make some pretty egregious errors.
Like countering his own Torpor Orb. Yeah.
That would definitely be an error.
Yeah, I mean, something you would have to misclick on Magic Online to lose this game.
Todd's trying to think of all the combinations his opponent could have to stop him. Oh, he's deciding to play it safe instead of just go for the kill.
Combat step. Into the Royal on Torpor Orb. Okay, so then he would Deceiver Exarch and tap the Gideon. Sure.
Now Todd has a variety of options. He can just allow to resolve. And then Mana Leak the Deceiver, which will just likely be able to kill the opponent here.
There's the leak.
Now, see, I think this was an error. He can allow him to tap the Gideon, and then he can just attack with a Colonnade, can't he? Did he have 5?
Yeah, I mean, or he can just